Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be in the company of world-renowned star Papoose. Papoose, good to see you. I've just had the introduction from Dimitri Salita as you head into the boxing world. Been here for a while now, but how are you finding the venture into boxing and being part of the events and making big events?
Yeah, growing up a big fan of boxing, man, my entire life since I was a kid. I grew up in the Bed-Stuy, Brownsville area. I seen Mike Tyson, when I was a kid. I used to see Mike Tyson come up in his limousine and, go feed the pigeons. And I just watching his fights on HBO. I took a big love into the sport at a very young age. So as a hip hop artist, which is my passion, and now being able to make that transition into the boxing world, it's a dream come true for me, man.
Did you ever put on the gloves at any point during your childhood or teenage years? Did you ever want to get into the sport in that way?
J just to stay in shape. Sometimes I go in the gym and I train to stay in shape. It's the best workout ever, better than any workout. So to answer your question, yes,
What made you want to transition from
definitely put on the gloves a bunch of times. To stay in shape, man. It's the best workout you can ever do.
What made you want to then get into the business side of things? Of course, you got the relationship with Claressa Shields, but then having to want to make big events, wanted to put on cards. Why was that a step you wanted to take?
Yeah, it always been part of my vision, man. Because you know, if you can go back years and years, you'll see me at all of the big fights. A lot of these guys are my friends. You know what I'm saying? I got good rapport with a lot of these guys, from Devin Haney to Zab Judah to Shannon Briggs to Bud. The list goes on. I've been watching these guys over the years, and I'm just a big fan of the sport. So, when you're on the outside looking in, and you watch the world of boxing, you see so many changes happening with the different entities, and different platforms are now showcasing boxing that weren't before. You see the changes, but when you're a dedicated fan, you say, "Damn, I would love to have my input. What if we can do it like this? What if we add this element? It can make boxing better." So I'm a fan of the craft. I'm a fan of the sweet science, but I'm also a fan of the business of boxing, and I want to see it grow.
So what is the Papoose unique difference to the way you want to do things? What makes you different to a promoter like an Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, a Bob Arum, a Don King of the past? What makes you different and unique?
Well, one of the things that I want to bring to the table is I love bridging the gap between hip hop and boxing. Hip hop is my passion. Hip hop is something you live, rap is something you do. So hip hop is a culture. I'm a part of the culture. It's my lifestyle. So I feel like music and boxing and in most sports go hand in hand. When you go into these training camps, what do you hear? You hear music. So I wanted to bridge the gap and between hip hop and boxing. And that's what we did with Claressa's last fight. And we was able to sell that arena out. A lot of the times when you go to these fights, you see artists walking the fighters to the ring. You know what I'm saying? But it's a big surprise, you know? But these artists also have tremendous fan bases. So if we can go hand in hand during the promotions with these artists, I feel like we can, enhance enhance these events. And just joining forces, man. Hip hop is the biggest genre in music. It's been that way for years, and boxing is just something that we all love. So just bringing them together and also working together, we can get better outcome.
I came all the way from the UK to watch Claressa Shields' last fight against Lanny Daniels, the sold out show over a plus $1 million gate. I was actually walking with, in a sense, but walking backwards for that ring walk with Rick Ross as well too, which was a great sight to see with my own eyes, and it completely brought the arena buzzing to another level for that ring walk out. And of course, Claressa Shields delivered. You feel there's more needed of that sort of thing. Is there the want and willingness from stars within the genre to be part of shows like that as well?
Yeah, I think we all love boxing. I think all of the artists, all of the stars, superstars, we all love boxing, but I just think if we all work together, it helps both sides as well. It's not just the boxing that get enhanced. I think the artists, it adds to what we are doing as artists as well. You know what I'm saying? So just working together, utilizing relationships. Relationships are very important. You know, I have a lot of healthy relationships within music. So just getting different artists involved with the promotion and because we like I said, we all watching these fights. We all love boxing. So just working together more, creating more awareness and shining more of a light on the events. I think we get way better and bigger outcomes with these fights, man. So, you know, I'm excited.
Are there egos to deal with as well, and how do you manage those within the sphere too?
Well, you know, they say ego stands for easing God out. You know what I mean? And you never want to do that. So everybody just got to put their ego to the side. Um, you know, we all have our favorite fighters that we love and we want to see be successful. So, you know, working together is always better and bigger than the ego and more important. So no, most of the people that I have relationships with, they're willing to put the egos to the side. And you know, not just because sometimes you might admire another celebrity, right? But you admire them from a distance.
Hmm.
So, like you said, some people have ego. You put that to the side when you see the person, you know, it's about being humble and letting them know, yo, I think you're great at what you do. And I'm looking forward to see you do bigger and better things. Matter of fact, let's work together at it. You know, anything I can do to promote what you're doing and whatever you can do to promote what I'm doing, let's do it. Because we come from we have two different audiences, but we both love what each other do. So I'm just encouraging artists and athletes to work together more. You know what I'm saying? And I want to you know, promote those relationships, man, and let the people see it so it can influence more.
Speaking of relationships, I'm aware that, of course, Carissa was a agent for a period. She talked with a number of promoters, but eventually settled on working with yourself and Salita Promotions further in that relationship. What made you extend the relationship with Salita? What was speaking to Salita and just being direct, a lot of it was trust that had already been developed throughout the years. Was that a key part of why that relationship continued?
Yeah, I think the fact that Claressa Shields, you know, found herself. And shout out to my lady, my queen Clarissa. You know, I think finding herself at a point in her career where she was in a bidding war. And like you said, she spoke to all the different entities in boxing. Everyone was interested in her. And I think the fact that she decided to continue with Salida says everything about what they do, what they bring to the table, and the history that they've made together. I think Salida Promotion has done a great job with Clarissa from the beginning of her career up until now. So, you know, when she came into the space where her contract was ending and it was time to make new decisions, even though she wanted to grow and extend the family, extend the team, she did want to keep Salida Promotions included and involved. And I think that speaks volumes for what they do over there for their athletes, man. So just big shout out to Salida Promotions and shout out to my WYN Records family. You know, we were able to join forces together so we can work together because I think that's the level of athlete Claressa is. You know, it takes a village. And that's what we're doing. We joined forces, and as you can see from the last event was sold out. This one is going to be sold out. We're doing great things together. So, you know, I think that speaks for itself.
A new signing comes through the door in the form of light heavyweight Atif Obleton. What drew you to Atif specifically? What do you like about him?
Man, you know, it's something about those Philadelphia fighters, man, that stands out from other places, man. You know what I mean? He comes out of that area and you know, I think he's a great prospect, man. I think he's a problem, man. And you know, he's one of those guys, very charismatic, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I think he's a great addition to the team. I'm super excited, you know what I mean, to join forces with him, win slash Salida and get this going, man. I want to see him go out there and fight the biggest guys. You name them. You name them. Bivol, possibly Benavidez. You know, we see the future for him is very bright, man. So big shout out to Atif, man. Congratulations. We happy to have you on the team. And like I said, man, we're joining forces with hip hop and boxing together, man, to, you know, to add on to everything that he's doing as well.
You can hear my voice. Obviously, I'm from the UK. Of course, Clarissa has had some rivalries with fighters in the UK, specifically Savannah Marshall. But any interest in signing some British fighters? Have you had those conversations at all? Any irons in the fire there?
Well, look, man, we're definitely in the watchtower and we got our eyes out, you know, for all talent out there in boxing. Dimitri, you know, we trust his opinion very well. He has a lot of experience. He hasn't made no bad decisions about that, man. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he hasn't made no bad decisions yet. So, we're trusting his opinion and myself as well. So we on the lookout, man. Anybody you recommend out there?
There's a few good
Yeah,
fighters
yeah.
right now, but yeah, and I think there's a lot of shifting sands in terms of free agency, a lot of shifting sands in terms of Zuffa boxing coming in. What do you think about that whole period right now, where some people could get picked up, some might be left at the wayside, but you got to find your footing as well too in lands that are ever shifting. What do you think about the current status of boxing in the USA and worldwide with Turkey Al Sheikh too in the mix?
Yeah, I think I like what Turkey Al Sheikh is doing as well. I think I love to see fighters getting paid a lot of money. I think they deserve it. I think, boxing has was in a shady space at one time where, fighters weren't getting the purses that they deserve. But I like to see fighters making more money. I like the classy events. I like the different concepts that they do. I actually been to one of the events in New York. And although, they made it specifically for a certain audience, it still was very, very classy. And I like to see things adding on to boxing. Some people come into the sport and they kind of take away from it, but I just like to see it being things being added on and boxers really getting the money that they deserve because they work hard. So shout to Turkey Al Sheikh and what they're bringing to the game. I enjoy it.
Feb 22nd onto Franchon Crews-Dezurn, reigniting that rivalry. Who is the star that's going to be walking out Claressa Shields this time around? Can you say?
Yeah, for sure. So the national anthem at that event will be sung by, oh my God, the amazing icon herself, Kelly Price. She has one of the best voices you ever heard in your life. She will be singing the national anthem. And big shout to Little Boosie. He will be walking Claressa to the ring. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a classic, exciting extravaganza of an event, man. You don't want to miss this event. The celebrities that I name are the ones that I'm naming, but believe me, there are a lot more surprises. And everybody know Boosie brings a lot of energy, man. Congratulations to Atif. He's definitely going to be on the undercard as well. Very excited, man. That boy is a problem, man. Philadelphia stand up. He coming, man. Win slash Salida.
When it comes to your business relationship, of course, with Claressa Shields, and then your personal relationship with Claressa Shields, what do you two do as a couple to make sure that if there's any problems within the business side, they don't bleed into the home life? How do you manage that side of things with the two of you?
Just by being genuine, we definitely put our personal relationship first. That's most important. By the grace of God, we were able to work together on the business side. You know what I mean? The natural relationship was 100% organic. You know what I mean? We actually met at a Shakur Stevenson's fight in New Jersey. And from there, the relationship just grew. But to answer your question, two separate things. You know what I mean? I've been working with WYN Records for years. Anybody who knows me, who really followed me, you know I've been doing some great things with WYN Records for the longest now. That's my family. We've been doing tremendous concerts, putting out great music, doing a lot of charity events in different states. When we go to these cities and we do concerts, we don't just want to come do a concert. We also do a charity give back to the community. So we've been doing that stuff for years and we've been very successful at what we do. And just so happened I met Claressa and I'm looking at her. I've always been a fan of her. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? If I can join my WYN Records family with the new queen in my life, the sky is the limit. And that's what I was able to do, be the liaison and bring those two powerful forces together. And now you have it. You have WYN slash Salida, and we are the future of boxing.
How would you say you wooed her? How would you say you got her?
Oh, man. It was natural, man. It wasn't planned. I met her July 2024 at that fight. And we started out as friends, man, to be honest. We were just talking back and forth. We would always text. We weren't speaking much. We would always text back and forth. And the conversation for me was just amazing. And I feel like one thing led to the next, you know what I mean? So um I would just say, man, it was like a match made in heaven. It was meant to be, man. Just talking back and forth and the chemistry was great.
One thing Chris has said in the past is a lot of people kind of have some predispositions about her. They think of her in one way, but when they meet her, she's actually completely different. Did you ever have those feelings about her? Not in maybe in a negative way, but just what you thought she might be like before you spoke to her.
Um, well, watching her from the outside looking in, of course, is different from the inside looking out. You know, like I
Mm.
said, I was always a fan, and you know, she's very competitive in her sport. So as a fan, I just was seeing that side of her, and I actually admired that side.
Mm.
You know, I always admire her confidence. A lot of people tell you to be humble, and I walk humble as well. But you know, don't be afraid to say you're the greatest. Don't be afraid to say you're the best. And that's what Claressa Shields represents. And I think that's very inspirational. And that's something great to teach our younger girls coming up. So, you know, I always admire her confidence, but I was watching the competitive side from the outside, and you know, you kind of already assume how a person is. But when you get to meet her, she's not really like that. You know, you'll get to see that it's not cockiness. It's
Mm.
just pure confidence, man. And I think it's something to admire instead of hate on or be against.
Yeah, speaking of that, I did see some back and forth between her and 50. 50 then put his shots aside to say, look, I'm a fan of Chris. I want to support her. But Carissa had her say back that, sometimes you get a lot of haters and there's not a lot of support sometimes. What's your kind of feelings on that side of things when it comes from people within the industry?
Yeah, well, when you at the top, you know what I mean, and you the best, and your name is in the algorithm, some people always going to want to attach themselves to that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you just got to know that. You know what I mean? You see what's going on. You don't live under a rock. Clarissa's in the headlines damn near every day. She's become an internet sensation, very charismatic, and she knows what she's doing. You know, people may underestimate, but Claressa is very, very smart. So, you know, she knows how to work that internet, man. Very good at promoting herself and letting people know I'm here to stay and I'm the best ever, two-time Olympic winner. You know what I mean? World champion in five different ways. It's like insane her accomplishments. She's done things that no boxer has done, and she's very viral on a constant basis. So, you know, when you put yourself in a position where everyone is talking about you, other celebrities are always going to want to attach themselves to that. It doesn't matter how successful you may think they are; they still want to be mentioned along with those who are constantly in the headlines.
Does it annoy you?
No, no. Honestly, I don't pay it no mind. The only thing that does annoy me is when they lie. You know what I mean? The hate, I'm used to that. I've been doing this for a long time, man. That comes with success. In any field, you're always going to have haters. But you know, the lies are what annoy me when people just tell false truth. But other than that, I'm cool with it. I laugh at the hate. I welcome it. You know what I mean? It's funny.
Bruce, before you go, let me get some boxing takes from you. I know obviously you're a student of the game. First of all, any interest in yourself getting in the ring, or a lot of stars are transitioning and getting into the ring themselves? Is it something that you've thought about doing?
Well, I just want to put on some of the best fights, man. Over here at WYN, that's what we're focused on. You know, my lady is a world champion, not me. Some people they get with a fighter and they start thinking they're a fighter. You know what I mean? I got so much respect for the sweet science. I just want to put on some of the best fights, and that's what we're doing over here at WYN. Congrats to Atif. Welcome to the team, man. We excited. Our future is bright. Claressa Shields, um, you know, Franchon Crews, February 22nd. It's going to be humongous. Pause.
Shakur versus Tio. Who have you got for that one?
Man, you know what it is, man, with that fight, man. I have a great rapport with both of those guys, so I'm just going to watch it like the rest of the fans from the outside looking in. But I do think it's going to be a great night for boxing, man. It's going to be crazy. Shakur is very hard to hit, extremely elusive, and very crafty fighter, man. You know what I'm saying? One of the best today. And Tio is from Brooklyn, so when it comes to Brooklyn, I'm very biased, and not just the Brooklyn side of it. He's a serious fighter, man. You know what I mean? He comes to fight. He doesn't come to play around. Very tough fighter, man. So I got a lot of respect for him, and I got a lot of respect for Shakur as well. So I just want to go make sure I enjoy the fight like the rest of y'all and see the outcome.
What do you think of Conor Ben? He wants a slice of both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia. How do you think he fares against those three?
Um, I would like to see him go for it. Very interesting, man. I am a fan of the best fighting the best. I'm a big fan of that. So I do want to see those fights happen. And I think Bud and Spence kind of set the tone for that.
Hmm.
They kind of set the tone for, hey, let's stop avoiding each other. Let's make the best fight the best. And that removed a lot of bullshit out of boxing. And I think since then, we've been seeing some of the fights that we wanted to see. A lot of the fights that we wanted to see. So I think if boxing continues on that path, the sport will stay healthy.
You think Crawford stays retired?
No, not at all. I'm not buying it for a second, man. Um, Bud is, man, one of the best ever that we ever seen in boxing. And when you have that much passion for something and you love it that much, it's kind of hard and difficult to stay away. So from the second I seen the announcement of his retirement, I respect it. I know he's a family man. I know he achieved everything you can achieve in the sport. And so many people doubted him, and every time he proved them wrong, they moved the goalposts. So I think that's frustrating. But honestly, when you got that much passion for something, man, you don't just stay away while you're at the top like that. You know what I mean? I don't think so. I think he'll be back. I
Against
could be
who?
wrong. I could be
Against
wrong though.
against who though? Who do you think draws him back to the ring?
Man, they was saying crazy shit. After he beat Canelo, they was saying shit like Bivol. They was saying crazy shit. And some people at one point in time would have thought him fighting Canelo was crazy shit.
Hmm.
But it happened. Terrence Crawford is an extreme talent, so I don't think it's no mountain that he can't climb as a fighter. So, you never know. A lot of people wanted to see him fight a lot of different people. Or a lot of people wanted to see the Boots fight.
Hmm.
That we never got that fight. You know what I mean? Um, which I understand why it didn't happen. But I think he'll be back, man.
What about Gervonta Davis and his current situation? He's want to see him back in the ring, but he seems to be not helping himself at the moment, if reports are to be believed.
I mean, I wish him the best. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Where I come from, we don't speak too much on people's legal cases or legal issues. But I will say this, they do say, I don't know any of the details, but you are innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. So, I would like to see him get all of that cleared up and get back to doing what he do best, man. I just wish him the best.
Do you think that's something that you at WYN Records can potentially help with those that need maybe guidance? You've succeeded from circumstances where success doesn't always come to readily, but sometimes people need that guidance. Is that something that you think you in your position are able to help, considering you've succeeded and come from circumstances which doesn't often lead to success?
We have a very strong team in all fields and all aspects. So, if any assistance was ever needed from us, we'd be willing and able to do so. So, yes, to answer your question, if anybody needs guidance or advice or assistance in any field, we would definitely be available for that. We have a very, very powerful team in all different fields.
Got to ask you again, British interest. Savannah Marshall looking for that rematch with Claressa Shields. Do you want to see it?
Um, hmm. I mean, the last fight they had, man, Clarissa did an amazing job. Clarissa's the best ever, man. You never know what the future holds, man. You never know what the future holds. We just got to see what happened. What happens? I would definitely come. I would definitely watch it.
Papoose, I'll leave the final with you. A really insightful conversation, a real confidence-filling conversation with what you're looking to plan to do with Salita Promotions and Clarissa and other athletes. Looking forward to seeing you deliver that this year. What would you like to leave with the listeners?
I would like to say, man, once again, congratulations to the GWOAT Claressa Shields. She's been doing so many great, amazing things. She just went into the Hall of Fame not too long ago. She has this huge, she just sold out her last fight. Congrats on the new $8 million deal with Win/Salida. February 22nd. Get your tickets now. Clarissa versus Franchon. Atif will be on the undercard. Little Boosie will be walking onto the ring. I will be there. Kelly Price is singing the national anthem. You don't want to miss this.
Papoose, looking forward to it. I'll be there as well too. Thanks for speaking to Seconds Out, sir. Much appreciated.